Katie again. Welcome back. This is Hand Tools 101. First up, we're going to be talking about hammers. So we have this type of hammer, which you can hit like small areas on an object with that, such as a nail. Next up, we have screwdrivers. There's two very common types of screwdrivers. We have these flathead screwdrivers, which you can see have a flat head, of course. And then we have a Phillips head, which has like a shape on it. And on that same note about talking about screwdrivers, we have hex keys. Next up, we have wrenches. So on a typical wrench, you will see two ends. Either two ends that look like this, meaning that they are likely different sizes, or one like this where they are the same size and just different types. So if you do not find the correct size of this type of wrench, you can use this to loosen nuts and bolts. And this one, you can change the size of it very simply by twisting this little knob in the middle and find the correct size of nut that you need and start twisting. Next up, we have ratchets. These are very similar to wrenches, used for the same purpose. And you'll notice that they come in multiple sizes. So based on the size of ratchet head that you're going to put on it, you will see the size matches up with this size versus this one is bigger. So you will push the button on the back, and then you can stick this on very easily. And then they have this little switch, so you can switch back and forth, and that is how you will tighten or loosen nuts and bolts. And you'll hear this sound. If you have something that looks like this is called an extender. It is used to get to places where you cannot get your ratchet normally. It'll extend into small places. Looks the exact same way as a normal ratchet, just has an extender on it. This is a good time to note that you may be wondering why things are red and blue. So red is the US system and blue is the metric system. So you have to be very careful when you're using your tools. Be careful to find which size you're looking for. Don't be looking for a 1/8 ratchet and a metric system. Then we have pliers. These come in very different shapes and sizes. This is just an example of one. You'll notice that they have this dark thing in the middle, and that is actually for cutting wires. So you can just stick a wire in there and it'll cut it like scissors. This top part, you'll notice on this pair, there are like bumpy sections. There are also some that are smooth. It depends on the type that you get. They each have a different purpose. And we have my personal favorite, a C-clamp, which is used to hold material. You can put your material inside and spin this section, and it'll clamp it together and hold whatever you're working on for you. Then we have a box cutter, which you'll see this little button on the back. You just push it, thumbs up, and it'll cut stuff. Next up, we have a handsaw. You put your hands like this on it, and you just saw the material. This takes longer than your typical power tool, but we'll get to that in the next video. Then we have a file, which is used to remove burrs from different parts. You'll see this file is more smooth than a wood file. That's because this is a metal file. They come in different shapes and sizes. We have rat files, wood files, and metal files. Next up, we have measuring and marking tools, and what better way to start than with a tape measure. So to use a tape measure, you'll see this on the side. Make sure that you unlock it. You can pull it out and push this back down to lock it, and you'll see that there are marks on it. One side is in centimeters, one side is in inches. So be careful when you're measuring that you know exactly what you're measuring. In this case, there are marked numbers with the longer lines, and then halfway between these two marked numbers, you'll see another longer line, and that's a half, and it keeps going down to quarter, eighth, and some have 16ths. Next up we have our scale. This is a 6-inch scale, and you will see that this one goes down to 64ths. So it is a little more precise than a tape measure is, but these also come in different sizes. Next up, we have calipers, and these are used to measure the thickness of a material. So the way that these work is you take this little dial that my thumb is on right here, and you can use them to open and close the little jaws, and then you shut it all the way around the material, but there is no space. And here on the screen, you can see the thickness of my material. So one thing you want to be careful with when using calipers is, notice this little button right here. It is inches and millimeters. If they are on inches and you're trying to measure millimeters, that is a problem. There is also a little dial right here. You can twist it and it will basically lock these from opening or closing any farther. Notice this top section here. This is used to measure the inside of material. Notice how I was measuring the outside of this piece of metal. If you have something that if you can't get to it and you have to measure the inside, use the top section. There you go. Next up, we have a level. This is a different type of level than you might see normally. You will see in this top section there is a bubble. That is how you know if it is level. So you see these two lines on the side. You want it to be as centered, this bubble to be as centered as possible. There's also another way of measuring. This measures two different dimensions, and you want this bubble to also be between those two lines. So if I set it down on a table and I see that it's between the two lines, that means it is level. If it is not between the two lines, you want to move one side until it is level. Next up, we have micrometers. These also come in various sizes. These are 0 to 1 inch micrometers, so they're perfect for measuring this type of material. So the way that these work is you twist them open, and you can stick them on your material, measure your material, and you can see that it's closed, there is no space, and they can still slide off. You don't want to over tighten them. And then you can read the little dial right there. So this looks like it is 232. Then we have a combination square, which is useful for marking a straight line on the edge of your material. As you see here, I can now take something and mark a straight line on my material. These also have 45-degree angle sides, so this is 90, this is 45 degrees. And you can do the same exact thing, put it on the side, and like with this triangle, I can measure halfway down using my 45-degree marking, as you can see right here.